Oi, darling.
I swear, man. Learn my name, please.
No. What is a psychic? You talk about them a few times.
Psychics are your weird boys, the mind magic stuff.
How do you mistake on weird boys?
Well, there's a few ways, depending on a lot of things. The Imperium uses those with an anti-psychic power. Weirdly enough, the anti-psychics are psychics by their nature, but there's a lot about it. Anathemas are what they're called, a word that means something or someone that one vehemently dislikes, which makes sense. Why does it make sense? If you have an individual mind or soul, being near an anathema, it feels like your soul is being slowly eaten. It is not comfortable to be near an anathema, and if you're a psychic, it gets even worse. It can actually make you sick just to be near them. And many of these, well, specifically women, are brought into a subsect of the Custodes called the Sisters of Silence. We can go into them later if you give me freedom, Garlock.
No. Go on. How did these knobs help the Daimis?
Like I've said, women are brought into this as children for Custodes subsect, called the Sisters of Silence. They're essentially anti-Psyker squad for the Emperor. But if they absorb psychics and make psychics sick, how can the Emperor stand next to them and pose for a picture like this one? Well, if you're an elephant, will you notice an ant? That's how.
You mentioned weird boys. How do you deal with them?
And that's the subject of today's long-ass introduction. The Calexis Temple of the Officio Assassinorum. The Calexis Temple is a temple of dudes with pariah gene. The pariah gene being named after a planet that has an insane amount of blanks for no apparent reason. Pariah Nexus being a region of Ultramar realm that just turns off psychic powers and makes those with souls sad, kind of. But we're not talking about that. The Calexis Temple was founded by a guy named Sire Calexis, which makes me wonder if he's a horse or something. He had the pariah gene and decided to walk up to the leaders of the official assassins, which is what the order means in High Gothic, for some reason, and just said, "Hey, let me train assassins that can't be psyker blasted, or else I'll just sit here and make you all uncomfortable." Yeah, no, seriously. Given Malkador was in charge of this whole thing, and he's stupid powerful psychic, I'm pretty sure he's alpha class or alpha plus. It's kind of insane. Imagine a dude just comes into your business naked, covered in shit, sits on the floor, and says, "Give me a branch of your company or I'll just stay here," and the police won't show up or do anything. Now, Calexis was given his psychic grade being Sigma or below. He was really powerful, and he was given his job, grabbed some friends of his, put them in charge, and started taking children from Pariah, a planet hidden by the Sisters of Silence and the Inquisition, and started training them to be stealthy killers. They were then sent out to kill specific targets with psychic powers, usually focusing on Eldari or some renegade or traitor humans. This branch of the Assassin's Order, it seems they're very often not even using humans. Well, kind of. Iota was a member of the Calexis during the Great Crusade, and it seems she was a clone. Well, a clone of a clone. According to the temple, she didn't even have a soul, making her closer to a Tau or Necron than a human or Eldar. Now, as with James Bond, what equipment you have is what makes an assassin their best. They use a special helmet that can muffle and focus their anti-psychic powers in a specific direction. Essentially, it works like Cyclops' visor in the X-Men, where it holds back the laser eyes or can pump it all in the blasts into a single point. It seems if you're good enough of one, You might even be able to blast a sorcerer's power right back at them, which is actually pretty neat, but I don't think this is actually in-game. They also have what's known as Psych-out grenades. It seems like these grenades work like the electromagnetic grenades in the Metal Gear games, but with psychics specifically. These seem to be primarily used on biomancy, pyromancy, and telekinesis discipline psychics. These grenades blast a cloud to just stop sorcery from working within it. Does it stop all of it? No, if you're powerful enough psychic, I imagine a beta level or higher, you'll have a bit of trouble, but you'll be able to do it. Then we've got the Skin Body Glove, which is a suit that the assassins of most orders wear to appear not exactly there, essentially phasing in and out of reality. This suit is, in combination with their anathema powers, a magic mumbo jumbo, essentially just passes through them without effort of a blink. These suits actually apparently also absorb psychics, so when they get closer to a psychic, the body suit becomes essentially a force weapon. There's more too. On the table, they have ranged weapon, the Anima Speculum, which has a lot of abilities. Anti-Psyker 2+, Assault, Precision, and Psychic Assassin. These ranged abilities make this weapon brutal against psychics. Get a 2 or more on a wounds roll against a psychic, it wounds. Can advance and shoot, can target a leader unit while the bodyguard still lives, and doubles the amount of attacks if the unit targeted is a psychic. This would be brutal against my Eisenhorn. Melee weapons tie into the Skin Body Glove, called a Life-Draining Touch, which does 4 attacks, has Anti-Psyker 2 ability, Devastating Wounds, and Precision. So this unit could be great in a charging situation if you need to. They get the Abomination ability, which provides a Feel No Pain 2+, against psychic attacks. Admittedly, you won't come across that a whole lot. It's rather surprising that Grey Knights don't actually have a lot of psychic attacks, but if you do get hit by one, you roll a 2 or higher and you can ignore it. They also have Soulless Horror Aura ability, which means that every enemy within 6 inches of the assassin has to roll higher to pass their battle shock or leadership tests. By 1 if not a psychic, 2 if they are a psychic. These assassins also have Deep Strike ability, which allows them to be deployed in no man's land from reserves so long as they are 9 inches away from an enemy. They also get Lone Operative, which means the model can't be targeted by range if the unit is more than 12 inches away. And they have Stealth, which means all ranged attacks get a -1 to hit rolls. Now, this essentially means that it needs to be taken out in melee by some unit without Psyker keyword. Of course, I don't know which army has the most Psykers. I know Tau have nearly none, Necrons and World Eaters have none whatsoever. In all honesty, this is on the table, won't be all that useful. But it's a good way to make sure you've got a defense against everything. It's the reason why you should have an anti-vehicle, anti-monster, and some anti-infantry. This way you've got something else that'll help out in a just-in-case situation. Now, I could go into a bit more, but in all honesty, these guys, and really any assassins in Warhammer, don't really have a whole lot written about them. Which makes sense. They're supposed to be super secret stealth assassins. One of the most hilarious to put on the table is the Calidus assassins. In combination with a chapter master type, you can just tell your opponent an eighth of their stratagems cost more. But let's not talk. that yet. Did you get the stuff I asked for, Goluk?
Yeah, I got you the paper. What you need this for?
To wrap Christmas gifts. Do not ask who Chris is, just shove off.